You may sometimes hit a point in life that you look around and you say, what is my actual identity? Am I more than being a wife and a mother? And what happened to that more of me before I became a wife and a mother? And I think it's very normal to have those moments that you just kind of consider, what has happened to me? Where did I go? How can I rediscover myself and without the guilt? How can you combine the identity of you, who you truly are, the person that you want to be, alongside being a mother, being a spouse, being a wife, being all these different facets of yourself? And that's what we're going to be talking about today, is how you can allow yourself the ability to step into being the person that you want to be. And that can come without you sacrificing your family or you showing up for motherhood and being a wife. And we'll definitely talk about that more. If you're new here, I want to welcome you to Unleashing Happiness. I am your host, Cecilia Hendricks, and you will soon learn that, as always, I am very excited that you're here, and I'm very excited to talk about this topic today. This podcast is designed to teach you how to change your mindset, change your habits, and then actually change your life. A few years back, I found myself in this position that although I loved many, many areas of my life, there was still something inside me that was yearning for a bit more. I wanted more out of my marriage. I wanted more out of my friendships. I wanted more out of my career. I wanted to feel more like myself. And to be honest, I was looking around my house and it was a mess, and I felt like I was behind on the laundry and I had no idea what I was going to cook for dinner. And I felt like I hadn't worked out in probably 2 weeks, and likely it was probably more like 3 weeks. And I just wanted to figure out, how can I feel like I have more? How can I have more freedom? How can I have more happiness? How can I have more joy? And I stumbled upon the law of attraction. Truly what I stumbled on was the documentary, The Secret. And so The Secret talked all about how you can attract things into your own life by using your words that have power and your focus and your intention. But I will say something that came out of that journey was a little bit of toxic positivity. I really started to believe that unless I felt positive all the time and was convinced everything was going to work out, that I would not be able to have the type of life that I wanted. And then the more that I focused on that, the more that I felt like I was falling behind in the other areas of my life that were really, really important to me. It was important for me to have really good connections with my children. It was important for me to have a marriage that was full of communication and love and desire and the things that you really want to have within a marriage and a partnership. But I couldn't have those things while I was bottling up my emotions. Even my friendships would suffer, right? Because I wasn't talking about the things that I was feeling, because anything that I deemed as a quote unquote negative emotion, I didn't want to let it surface. So I tried to just suck it down and hold it down. And it just created a really unwelcomed and unpleasant cycle of this toxic positivity that we can see online running quite rampant. So over the years, I ended up landing on this process that I created for myself that really focuses on filling my own cup. And honestly, sometimes being maybe what other people would consider selfish, because I feel like when I take care of me, I'm a better mother. I'm a better partner. I'm a better friend. I have more to give, and I'm not filled with resentment. It has been the most beautiful journey that I've ever taken in my entire life, because my children especially are my everything. If you listen to my content, I talk about them a lot. They are wonderful. I have great relationships with them, and I want to continue to show up for them as they grow up. I also want to be a good partner to my spouse. I want to be a good friend. I want to be there for others. And the more that I give to myself, the more that I'm actually able to give to others. And I had this backwards for many, many years. For quite a while, I thought being a good mother and being a good wife meant that you had to be selfless, that you had to just keep giving and giving, and you had to put everybody before you. And what I realized over time is that just creates burnout. And it's not their fault, right? I'm making my own choices. This stuff comes from internal. I need to create my joy. And so I started looking at some additional law of assumption, law of attraction teachers. And if you've been on this journey for a while, for the past 12 weeks or so, I've been going over Neville Goddard's Your Faith is Your Fortune. I really like Neville Goddard's teachings and I believe firmly in them. He's one of my favorite teachers. And I'm going to actually start doubling up the podcast episodes to also share the continuation of Neville Goddard's Your Faith is Your Fortune. So if you're listening to this, I don't want you to think that I forgot about it. There will be another episode later this week. Probably, I'm guessing on Thursday. I'll confirm when I publish what the new schedule is going to be. I'll still be doing a Monday episode, but then I'll be doing a secondary episode later as well. But I wanted to really talk today about allowing and how just the process of allowing opens up your whole universe to just getting so much more great in, right? And I know that that sounds very simplistic, but when you start to allow the possibility and you start to just allow yourself to lean into the fact that you should take care of yourself, that you should look at the life that you're leading and make sure that you are happy and fulfilled, because the more that you fill your own cup, the more you have to give to others. It's not about being quote unquote selfish because you think of no one else. It's about making sure that you take care of yourself enough that you have something to give. And that you're not bottling up resentment and frustration, because what ends up happening is that you unleash that on somebody who's close to you, right? That could be your spouse, it could be your friend, it could be your kids, it could be your mother. It just comes out. And sometimes you may not even know why you're upset. I don't know if you've ever been in this position. I certainly have, where I've been very upset at a certain person that's very close to me and that I love dearly. And I am upset about a reason that if I were to write it out on a piece of paper when I was calm, I'd be like, what are you doing? Like, you just got upset over the most ridiculous thing, because it wasn't about that thing. It was about something leading up to that thing or a feeling behind that thing. And because you have created this cycle of holding those emotions so tight, one, you're not even sure how to name that emotion. What are you feeling and where's the feeling coming from? So the more that you start to allow, I'm going to take care of myself. I'm going to learn how to regulate my emotions. I'm going to become more emotionally intelligent. I'm going to learn how to calm my nervous system. I'm going to learn how to create healthy boundaries and how to communicate my needs better to those people that are around me, because that is the way that you create a life that you love. It goes beyond just meditating and visualization, which, trust me, has its place in this, and I firmly believe in it, and we'll talk about it more over the next coming weeks. But there is such a beauty in saying, I'm going to allow myself to take care of me. I'm going to take some time out each and every day and learn something new. And one of the greatest ways to do this is through your habits. Which ways can you habit stack also learning, right? If you're a mom and you're taking the kids to school, can you listen to a podcast such as this one or one other that you really resonate with that teaches you how to control your emotions, how to name your emotions, how to regulate your nervous system, how to start to manifest the life that you want to have? Can you end up spending some time in the evening, like walking on the treadmill, and read a book at the same time? On the car ride, can you listen to an audiobook? There are different ways. Oh, cooking dinner. That's a great one. I have like a little speaker. And so while I'm cooking dinner, I'll either listen to an audiobook or I'll listen to a podcast. And you can start to include your family in this. And I will definitely be sharing more about all of this. I just want to lay this out and place the thought in your head, plant this seed for you to understand that you deserve to take care of yourself. You deserve to focus on your mindset. You deserve to focus on your own well-being and the way that you're feeling each and every day, so that you don't have so much resentment, you don't have so much anger, and you don't just feel completely overwhelmed. Because I'm going to tell you, I've been there. I've been there when I walk into my house and it is an absolute disaster and it just feels overwhelming right from the get-go. And I have to make dinner and I have to do bath time and I have to do reading and we have to focus on homework and then I have to get everybody to bed. And then I have to get up because I've got a meeting at 7 a.m. And then after that meeting, I've got to take the kids to school. And then once I get home, I also have to get myself ready to go into the office if I actually had time to do that, maybe even shower. Oh my goodness, what kind of wonderfulness would that be to have 7 minutes to get in the shower before you have to be on your next call, right? And it becomes so overwhelming. And I'm telling you that the more that you focus on this and you make time now to learn how to step into being a better version of yourself, not to say that there's anything wrong with you, but when I say better, it's because you will feel better, you will look better, you will enjoy life more, right? I'm not saying better because I think you need to be better. I think you're wonderful. I think you're perfect. I think you're beautiful. I think you're funny. Trust me, I think that you have so many great qualities that have just been lost in the hustle and bustle of life. And it's easy to get caught in just noticing that. And so once you start to allow yourself the ability to learn, the ability to grow, the ability to really step into this version of you, you'll wake up one morning and be like, wow, I've got this covered. My house is clean. My career is going well. My relationship with my spouse is 100 times better than it ever was. My relationship with my kids is as strong as ever because I have the time to give them. I have the emotional support that I can provide them. I am teaching them how to be emotionally secure. I'm teaching them how to regulate their own emotions and actually share them and not sit in them. I am teaching them how to be remarkably better in their own lives so that we can improve the world, right? It all goes around in a beautiful cycle. I want to share one of the fastest and easiest ways for you to get started in this journey, right? And of course, actually to get started is by listening to this and making the agreement with yourself that you're going to do it, that you're going to give yourself the opportunity to start improving the way that you're living, to start improving the way that you're feeling. And we're going to start by learning about mindset. And I think sometimes what it comes down to is figuring out what actually is mindset. What does that mean? If you look it up, it actually says mindset is the established set of attitudes held by someone. Have you ever met somebody that it seems like no matter what happens in life, they see kind of the sad part of it or the frustrating part of it, right? Like somebody could let them go in traffic and they're annoyed that the person ahead of them didn't let them go. Or they find $5 on the street and they're like, yeah, but it was wet. Like who wants a wet $5? Or they get a promotion at work and they're upset because it didn't come with the corner office. There's some people that just seem to have a very negative biased mindset. And I want to share that we're actually wired to be a bit more negative. It goes back to survival instincts, right? Like we need to remember the negative, the things that were a little bit more difficult and scary so that we can survive. That's the way our brain is wired for survival. But when you're looking at something like finding $5 on the road, there's not survival in that. So you need to start to teach your mind how to see more of the positive if you see yourself in wet $5 guy that I just described. Because then there's other people that it seems like no matter what happens, they see the sunny side of it. They're always seeing how luck always ends up on their side. They always get opportunity, and you may see it as well. Like, oh goodness, they always get something great. They're always winning. They always have the lucky opportunities. And there's actually a study that was done that showed that people who identify themselves as lucky are more likely to see opportunity that is available to them than people who self-identify as unlucky. And I talk about that in a lot of podcast episodes because I have always found that so profound. Like you can actually self-identify as lucky or unlucky and see more or less opportunities. Our brains are literally wired to confirm to us our own bias. It's confirmation bias. It's the same way that if you want to buy a hot pink car, suddenly you're like, I've seen like 5 hot pink cars this week. Or if you want to buy a certain kind of shoe, then all of a sudden you notice everybody wearing those shoes. It's because you've told your brain, this is important, pay attention to this. So one of the best things to do is start teaching your own brain how to pay attention to the wins, how to pay attention to the positive. And one of the first ways that I recommend to get started with this is something I call your daily joys. So, a daily joy is like that small moment of something that you just enjoy doing. Like I say all the time, because I'm obsessed with coffee, my first cup of coffee in the morning is phenomenal. I absolutely love it. I also love taking a walk and listening to the birds. I really like birds. So, I like watching the birds out in my backyard. I like sitting on my front porch and reading a book. I really love taking a magnesium and bubble bath. I've just started soaking in magnesium. I cannot recommend it enough. It's phenomenal. Little side note here, I buy it off Amazon. So having those moments are special to me. I enjoy those quite a lot. So what you do is you take out a piece of paper and you write out your daily joys. It's like the things that's in every day. I really love taking my son to school. It's definitely one of my daily joys. I open the sunroof. I live in Colorado, so it's pretty cool in the mornings, even in the summer. So I open the sunroof and we just chat on our way to school. It takes us about 20 minutes to get there. And we just talk about what classes he has, what he thinks he's going to do, what he's looking forward to. We have this really nice time. And so for me, that is 20 minutes of joy. I enjoy my morning ride with him. I also enjoy the small moments of like 30 seconds of taking that first drink of coffee. I always feel like the first cup of coffee is like the best of the day. Even if you have another one that you make fresh, it's never as good as that first one, in my opinion. I also love soaking in the bath. So that might be another 20 minutes of joy, but it can be really, really small. So I also have reminded myself through doing these daily joys that I enjoy playing pickleball. I like going to the park and swinging on the swings. I love going to water parks and going on the rides, especially the ones that have like tubes. I think it's so much fun. I love Water World here in Colorado. If you ever get a chance to visit in the summer, I highly recommend going. It is phenomenal and so much fun. But what you do is you make this list of all these things that you enjoy. And if you're struggling to think of things that you really enjoy, if you're kind of in that area of life right now that you're just really struggling, think about things you used to enjoy. What were things that you liked to do in your early 20s? What were things you liked to do in your teens, right? And you would like to bring back. There's plenty of things I did in my teens that I thought were fun that I would not want to do now. But, to each their own. Or think back to your childhood. Did you like going to the park? Did you like playing basketball? Did you ride horses? What was something that you did and that you could add back into your days now? And then each day you're going to actually make a choice to add some of those back into your day. So some of them might be bigger, right? Like maybe you rode horses and you're like, that's a little difficult for me to just add into my everyday. I don't see how that's going to work. But I do like to take a bubble bath, or I do like to read a book, or I really enjoyed writing, or I would play the guitar, or like you, Cecilia, I really enjoy that first cup of coffee. So what are ways that you can actually incorporate that back into your life? And then what you do is you make the conscious effort that you're going to do it. I recommend you write it out. At this time, I'm going to do this. So it'd be at 6 a.m. I'm going to go sit on my front porch and enjoy my first cup of coffee, even if it's just 2 minutes, right? And then you go out on your porch, and while you're sitting and you're enjoying that first cup of coffee, I want you to focus on the physical sensations that you have in your body. What does it feel like to drink the cup of coffee? How does the cup of coffee feel in your hands? Is there a breeze outside? Can you smell anything? Really tap into your physical senses as you sit and enjoy this daily joy. It's something that's part of your everyday life, but now you are focusing on actually feeling that moment. It can be as small as 30 seconds to get started. It's really lovely to get some morning sun in the morning. So if you go out for just 30 seconds and just bask in the sunlight, that is phenomenal. You're getting started in building gratitude, adding joy to your day, and doing something small for yourself. And you should really celebrate that. That should be something that you're excited about. And I want you to feel good about it. If something that you miss doing is singing in the car and you don't want to do it with your kids in the car, or maybe you do. If you do, that's phenomenal. I love car parties, don't get me wrong. But let's say that you're like, right now, I want this to just be for me. Then maybe after you drop the kids off at school, sing a song on your way back home. Roll down the windows, feel the air through your hair. Do something for you today, no matter how small it is. And that's exactly where I want you to start to get started, is by allowing yourself to do something for you that is only for you. Now, sometimes that can include other people. I don't want it to be like, oh, this has to be by yourself. Like, I really enjoy playing pickleball. I go and play pickleball quite a bit with my kids. It's something we really like. So that could be my daily joy, something I'm doing for myself, but it could also include them, and that's okay. I don't want you to think this has to be some solo activity that you're doing, but it can be 30 seconds, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Spend some time focusing on just you. Find a little slice of the day that you can do a daily joy just for you. I promise you, I have heard back from people who have struggled to even get themselves out of bed that literally wrote me and said, I was so depressed I could not get out of bed. And I decided, okay, I can do one thing for myself for this very minimal amount of time. And just looking forward to that got me up and started getting me rolling on doing something more. So just spend the time, just get yourself started, allow yourself to do something for you today. I hope that you loved this episode. I hope that you will be adding your daily joys. If you are listening on YouTube, I would love if you put in the comments what your daily joy is or what your daily joy is going to be. Definitely let me know if you have any questions. If you're listening on a podcast hosting platform, I would love if you emailed me and told me what your daily joy is and how you're going to be incorporating this into your own life. And definitely, if you have any questions, by all means, always feel free to reach out. I don't want anybody to feel like they cannot. My email is unleashinghappiness@ceciliahendricks.com. That's CeciliaHendrix.com. Feel free to reach out at any time. I love hearing from everybody, and I wish you nothing but the best and have an absolutely beautiful week.